Hello everyone! How are you guys doing? You have made it to chapter 7, Reminiscence. And of course my boys wanted to say hello too. Can you guys say hello? Hello! Mary, you want to say hello? Please enjoy chapter 7. Disclaimer, this content is rated R18+. There may be cursing, blood, gore, and sexual content. This content is for entertainment purposes only. All rights of this product belong to the original owner of the work, Wyona A.M. Copyright. All work in this video from our audio written book belongs to the original writer, artist, Wyona A.M. This video is for entertainment purposes only. To contact the original artist for use of products shown or heard in this video, contact at YouTube channel Wham×3 blog, Instagram Wham×3, Twitter at mx3_WA, Facebook page Wham×3. The program used to edit this video was Adobe Premiere Elements 2020. That dress does fit you. I am glad, said someone stepping up. I was hoping I got the measurements right. Kelly looked down at the dress. It was a simple white fabric with a layered skirt, much like Yuki's, except Yuki's had stripes of blue while Kelly's had stripes of red. It seemed more like a cheap wedding dress than a gown. However, maybe cheap wasn't the right word, since the fabric did seem rather expensive. Yes, it fits perfectly. Thank you, Mr. Clark, she bowed. Father had a bit of a challenge with your small figure, but I suggested one of Yuki's dresses. It fit perfectly. This is Yuki's. She said he'd look better in it, shrugged Lito, thinking Ayase would mind if I took her out to see the gardens. And that she would, after all. The Fade lit the gardens so guests could go visit, someone said thoughtfully. Want to get some fresh air? Lito asked, Kelly extending his hand. She obeyed. Have fun, you two, winked Zelman before leaving. Lito took Kelly's hand and led her away from the festival, grabbing some food and drinks along the way. Please don't have any ideas, warned Kelly as they stepped into the maze of rose bushes. Ideas? Questioned Lito with an innocent hum, though she had learned that his innocent responses were far from innocent ever. I just thought you'd like to get some fresh air after all. I know how you feel about crowds. Your nerves have been skyrocketing since the guests started arriving, and we are all just clan members, not even the whole clan on top of that. You mean the clan's bigger than this? My father did have 3 wives and 7 children after all. Kelly looked down at the ground. She wanted to feel the grass under her feet. My mother's half tends to stay by her mansion, though. They still don't trust my brothers or father, but we have been rebuilding the estate, and they are slowly returning, loyal to the heirs of the Batagi clan after all. He said the last part almost with a bitterness that caught Kelly off guard. Eve's clan was already pretty much destroyed during the Renaissance, which is how she ended up marrying my father out of protection. Karen, well, she was the same way, I guess, but more out of survival than anything. Her pack was small, and they needed protection from the Merce clan, so they agreed to protect the coven only. Karen ended up becoming my father's mistress. It must have been strange for you. Lita shrugged, then kneeled down, picking up Kelly's skirt. She went to protest, but he simply took off her heels and massaged their feet gently before placing them on the cool, damp grass. Her aching feet hummed at the coolness. I was living at my grandfather's castle at that time with my cousin Suru and his father. I only met Karen briefly, but I knew Angela personally. They continued walking until they came across a statue of an angel. She was dressed in a white robe-like dress with an open back down in pearls and diamonds around the edges. Her wings and hair were black, done in some kind of black gem. Her face was gentle, childlike, her delicate hands pressed against her chest as she looked sideways like she was looking down at someone. Karen died in childbirth, but she was able to name her daughter. Angela was one of the strongest women of our clan, and after my father lost all his wives at once, she became our life. He stared at the statue lost in memory. Whoever had done it had made it with great care and love. Her name was fitting, for she was our angel, our black-winged angel. I looked at the statue, then down at the plaque made out of gold. For our beloved Angela Pegasus Clark, 1436 through 1982. You will always be our light, our hope, and our dreams. With your beautiful black wings, you look after and protect us. With your voice, you speak to us and take our fears and doubts. You embrace us in your arms and fill us with love. You will always be a part of us, our angel with black wings. She blinked in amazement, then looked up at the statue again. So this is Angela. Maya's mother. Lito nodded. She was beautiful. Yes, and gentle and kind. She was in a way our mother, the way she took my brothers and I under her wing, despite being our younger sister. When Momichi's son showed up to our door, bleeding and carrying Yuki, she did not ask questions or judge, but simply took the child and cared for her, as if she was her own. She held Momichi as he mourned his only son's death, losing his brother just a year before. To lose his son on the exact same day almost took him away from us. But Angela kept him out of the darkness, gave him hope as she put Yuki in his arms. We did the same for her. When she returned pregnant, we did not judge her, but protected her, cared cared for her. When Maya was born, she was all of our daughters. Maya and Yuki, both are daughters of the clan due to Angela. Ayase will always have a home among us because of Angela. Even those like Kira. Well, Kira was another daughter for Angela. See, Angela was a mother to them because she made them a part of us. When she died, she took a part of all of us with her, but also left us all part of herself as well. I wish I could have met her. Kelly looked up at the statue, already in love with the woman it represented. The details, the expensive jewels and stones that dressed her. It was almost like looking up at a goddess, and feeling her won't fill you with love. Telling you she would always be there, holding you, protecting you. She would have liked you, I am sure. In fact, even now, after all this time, I am still forever in debt to her. Why? Maybe someday, but it's too soon in our relationship, Petron, he teased, winking at her before leading her to a covered table in the corner of the garden, setting up the food and drinks. He had gone, leaving a pastry and a glass of wine in front of the statue. They ate quietly, listening to the crashing of the waves and the faint sound of music. As the sun rose, Leita led Kelly out of the magical place, and to her amazement, the glass of wine and pastry were gone. She looked at the statue curiously, but quickly followed Leito, not wanting to get lost in the maze. The two old friends found themselves chasing the young drunk boy who had managed to change himself into mist. A hard trick even for a mastered warlock, much less a young boy. The boy blew up stands and set off car alarms, all which the other two had to fix while also trying to catch him. Momiji turned into a fox, bouncing off the buildings and onto roofs, while rain followed from below. "You can't catch me," said the boy, throwing a bottle at Vane, which splattered all over his clothes. "Ah, the young have no respect," he cursed, though it was playful. Momiji chuckled, sending a blast of wind to throw the boy off. The boy flew and dropped into the bay, but didn't bother to swim or cry for help. The two dived in after him. "No, let me die. Let me be at peace, away from this crude world." "Now, come on, it's not that bad," said Momiji, dragging the boy who struggled. "He's really trying to drown himself," said Vane, shaking his head. They dragged the boy out of the water again. After a few hours, Vane knocked the boy out with his sleeping spell, and they dragged him out of the water. A young shadow hunter figures." Vane shook his head again while Momiji rolled his eyes. They called a taxi and took the boy to the town homes, which were the shadow hunter's residence in the area. To their surprise, the boy was the grandson of their old friend and Vane's lover, Gabriel. The boy's name was James. His sister Becca looked at her slumbering brother and shook her head. With the help of Vane and Momiji, they put the boy on the couch in the smoking room. She then asked if they wanted anything. She owed them a huge debt for the trouble. They had been more than happy to help, especially now that they knew who he was. They also met Alec, the grandson of Michael, who inherited his grandfather's dark skin and hair with gray eyes. Vane tried not to stare, but it was rather difficult. The boy wasn't as well built as Gabriel, Rebecca's brother James. He was slim, his dark wavy hair was silky like his grandfather's, but had more of a wave to it, and his skin was not as dark. His fashion sense was also different. Alec's grandfather had prided himself, like Vane, to be up to date with the latest fashions, while the boy wore old jeans and sweaters, and laid one look on the warlock with his dark hair, Greek features, and striking blue eyes, and he fully blushed. He hid behind Becca's sneaking peeks of Vane here and there, while Becca stuck up an easy conversation with the guest. Vane remembered Becca well, at least as a young girl. She had blonde hair and blue eyes as a Barbie doll, model-like body, strong and well-built and completely feminine, dressed in form-fitting jeans, brown knee-high heeled boots, and a V-neck sweater, a touch of silver on her neck and ears. After a couple of hours to make sure the kids were fine, they said their goodbyes. Vane winked at the boy, Becca taking notice and note. The boy blushed so red it made Vane chuckle like a little kid to himself. Becca winked back with her fingers to her lips. "I think you have a date," chuckled Momiji as they walked away. "You think so?" asked Vane, glancing back at the townhouse. The trees were shadows around the dark stones. They walked on, once again enjoying the company of the other. The conversation went on about James, Becca, and Alec, to how Momiji and Ayase were doing. "We're fine," said Momiji, looking down, obviously not fine, and not really wanting to talk about the subject. "Ayase stays hidden mostly at her pools, and I stay mostly at my place in the mountains." Ayase had made a sanctuary for herself after Angela's death, kind of a way to get away from the world. It was fields of warm green grass, with sparkling pools of clear water hidden in an alcove among the mountains. Ayase has seemed to have perked up since Leito's word appeared, that little druid, as many call her. I've come upon her peering into the pool, watching the young girl. "Oh, that's good. How's Yuki?" "Yuki's usually off at school or with her friends. Ikato." "I see." Vane looked down thoughtfully. "And Maya?" He hated asking, but he wanted to know. Momiji shrugged. "She's more interested in the courts than in her training. To be honest, I don't know how to reach her. She blames me for not being able to protect Angela. She blames Ayase for..." Momiji stopped and went quiet. He leaned the anguish across his features, unable to hide it. She hates all of us for staying at Ayase's side and being so protective. But what can I do? I can't abandon Ayase. She's family, but Maya is also the heir to the throne. His voice faded. You don't think Maya is an heir to you? Momiji looked at Vayne. His face showed how utterly lost he was. Vayne's heart broke. She shows no signs like the others. She has no marks from a Kaji or Khan. I don't even sense the wolves inside her. It's like they left this world with Angela, and yet we all saw it. When Angela died, they left her and went to Maya. Momiji shook his head, trying to get the thoughts out of his head. Who has the sword? It's in a display case in a vault safe. Momiji leaned against the railing, looking up at the morning sky. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? About what? About our existence. Momiji, please don't start talking like that. Vayne grabbed the younger man by the shoulders. Momiji looked down, his eyes glossed over. It's like with the young shadow hunter and wanting to just end it all. I know. Our world is changing. It seems to be changing for the better. What? With Lestat and the spirit inside him inspiring all the other races to make courts of their own? But then it reminds me of the old legends. Momiji sighed, then looked up at Vayne with a small smile. Sorry, I'm not much company. Oh, Momiji. To have you here with me, well, it makes the world not seem so lonely anymore. The fox seemed to take that into consideration. The sun drifted across the city. The sons of the city waking surrounded them. Come. Vayne put his arm around the young man, who allowed him to guide him. Let's just enjoy this a little bit longer. You still remember where I live, don't you? Is it still as flashy as it used to be? Oh, you should know me by now. They chuckled. It was a sorrowful chuckle as they walked up the street that was slowly coming to life. I hope you guys enjoyed Chapter 7 Reminiscence, and please take care with everything going on. Bye! Bye.